Hey guys, today, June 12th, 2019, is a huge milestone for my husband and I because 20 years ago, on June 12th, 1999, we got married. That was our wedding day. And so today we are celebrating 20 years of marriage. And I just wanted to share with you guys because our story started long before that. And as you know, if you watch my channel, I talk all the time about how awesome my husband is. I absolutely adore him. He treats me like a princess, like a queen. He makes me feel so loved and so beautiful and so cherished. And that is how every husband should make their wife feel. And um and I hope I make him feel even half as special as he makes me feel. I mean, it's just I'm overwhelmed by how he loves me. And I don't say that to brag or make people feel bad if they're not in a good relationship. I say it because I want it to give people hope, especially people who are, just dating or maybe not even in that stage yet, or are in a relationship and they're thinking about possible, marriage, but they have reservations about things. I'm telling you, you deserve to be loved and cherished and treated like you are the most important person in their world, because you should be. And in the same token, they should be the most important person in your world. And so I just wanted to share a little bit about our journey, our relationship up to this point, and share with you some pictures, and you can kind of get an idea of how much we have changed over the years in so many ways. And I just really want to do this to say to Brian, and he already knows, but I love you so incredibly much. I'm so thankful for you. I know God put us together. He planned this since the beginning of time. And I know he knew that we would be so perfect for each other, perfectly dorky together. And I'm overwhelmed by your love for me. I'm overwhelmed by just the way you care for me and the little details of things that you pay attention to. And I'm just overwhelmed by who you are and the way you treat me and the example you are for our boys of how a husband should treat his wife, and the kind of father that you are. I wouldn't want to do this life with anyone else. And so I love you. Happy 20-year anniversary. Okay, now let me tell you a little bit about our story. We got engaged on March 30th, 1998, but our story began way before that. We met when my family moved so we live in Michigan, and up north, it's still in the Lower Peninsula, which is shaped like a mitten, okay? And then there's the Upper Peninsula up there, but we lived up north. So we lived up in this area, and we moved down when I was 6. And that is when I met Brian, because we went to the same school. We quickly were attached to each other. I remember in 2nd grade, I made him this little post-it note thing where each post-it note had a question, and then the next one was circle yes or no. And he got so flustered with it, and it ended up all coming apart. And it's so funny because I remember that, and that is still his personality, just like, And so that kind of started our journey. In 3rd grade, we were little loves. We had a little romance going. He saved his allowance money to buy me a Valentine card that had a monkey on it. I do remember that much. I wish so much that I still had that card. I wish my mom would have tucked it away somewhere, but he spent his allowance to get me a Valentine's card. So this is 3rd grade, you guys. And at the time, my dad played on a softball league, and we traveled around the state with different families. And there was a certain boy, and I'm not going to say his name because who knows. But anyway, he lived in Farmington Hills, which was a little fancier town than where we lived in our little country town. And I had a crush on this boy, and that was like the demise of Brian and mine's relationship in 3rd grade, because I, was going for the city boy instead of him. So he still remembers his name and everything, so it's pretty funny. And then as we got a little older into middle school and high school, we were always super good friends, very close. We had a lot of fun together. When we were in high school, there was actually a group of him and 2 or 3 other guys that they were really good friends, but I also was kind of part of the group too, and we would go do things together, go to the movies, go out to eat, you know, drive around, like just simple things, whatever. But they were the group of people that I like to hang around with a lot. And even though I dated someone else all through high school, that I still have no idea why to this day. Yes, I do, because it prepared my heart and helped me realize what I wasn't meant for in a relationship. Brian was always there. He was always a best friend to me. He was always there. And between 10th and 11th grade, we decided to kind of date, okay? I remember being so weirded out because he was so nice to me and so good to me. And the guy that I had dated for several years and ended up going back to was not that way. And I remember it feeling very foreign and weird to me. Like, why is he being so nice to me? Like, which is ridiculous because that is how someone should be to you. But you get used to being treated a certain way, and the right way seems strange to you, which is very unfortunate. But so I remember we went on a date. We went to the mall and we were going to the movies. And so we went into the mall and we were shopping, or we were walking around. And I remember if I said I liked something, he would buy it. So then I was like afraid to say I liked anything because I was like, why is he buying me stuff? Like, what's he doing, you know? And I remember we went, and the movie theater was in the mall, and we went and got our tickets, and we were going to take the stuff that we had bought out to the car before we went in to watch the movie. And as we were walking out in the parking lot, I see him throw something down on the ground. And he was like nervous and, you know, whatever. And I'm like, what did you just throw on the ground? It was our movie tickets. He had crumpled them up and threw them on the ground. Now, this is how his mind works. He doesn't litter. I don't mean that. It was like a nervous, like, I don't know, like he didn't know what he was doing. But he's still the same way. I have found like a $20 bill in the garbage can at home. All sorts of crazy stuff because his mind just kind of, it's crazy. He's a super smart guy. His brain fails him sometimes. So that was pretty funny. And so we went to the movies and stuff, and we dated for a very short time. And then I went back to the guy who didn't treat me very well. And Brian, though, was still always there. And I remember this girl had moved to our school that I had known from like a neighboring town. And, you know, he kind of thought she was cute and stuff. And I remember trying to help get them together. But in the back of my mind and heart, I was like, ugh, but I don't want him to date her, you know, kind of thing. And all the while, I think just totally not allowing myself to really feel what I was feeling or know what I knew, you know. And so we went through the rest of high school, graduated together, always just the best of friends. Hung out with groups of people, we were never like really by ourselves, but he would stop in and visit me at work sometimes and just say hi and stuff. I worked at a tanning salon at the time and stuff like that. And in the meantime, I had actually started dating someone different. And this guy, okay, so mind you also though, like my whole family, both of my sisters knew Brian very well because we grew up together. So they were around him and saw him a lot and things like that. So, you know, my family knew him really well. His family knew me. When we were little, we both played on T-ball teams and we played on different teams. And his mom will tell a story about how at one of the games, they're like, why didn't you get her out? You could have got her out. And he's like, I don't want to make her cry. Because it was me. And so, I mean, we were just little. So like maybe 7, 8-ish. And so, I mean, we have a history way back, you know. And so anyway, I was dating this guy, and again, I'm not really sure why, because he did not treat me nicely at all. He was a year older than me, and for some reason, like, really talked down to me and treated me like I was a kid, kind of. And his friends would always be like, don't talk to her like that, you know. And he was just not very nice to me. But I was kind of used to being in that type of a relationship where somebody kind of was degrading to me in a sense. And like I said, it kind of becomes your norm. And unfortunately, I went from one relationship like that into the next one. Well, he and I actually ended up getting engaged, and we hadn't dated that long. It was very goofy. I don't know why, I was really young. I was 19. And so I remember him telling me, this guy that I was now engaged to, put it this way, we got engaged in August, okay? And by November it was done. He said to me, if we're gonna get married, you can't talk to Brian anymore. And I was like, wait, what? And I'm like, he's my best friend. And he's like, I don't care. If we're gonna get married, you can't talk to him anymore. And I remember that was kind of like the point in my life where I really stopped and thought about who has been here consistently for me, who always makes me feel good about myself, and who do I always have fun with, when I'm with them or with him, I am always having fun and laughing, and he appreciates things about me and, says nice things to me. He doesn't ever talk down to me. And, I never feel self-conscious and uncomfortable around him. Like he's looking for things to criticize or, I stopped and I was like, he is my best friend. Why in the world would I give up my best friend, this amazing person, to marry this person who doesn't even treat me well, who doesn't even really act like they love me? I mean, who doesn't act like they love me? What am I doing, And so I remember Brian was up north with his brother. Now this is before cell phones and stuff really. I mean, it was just starting kind of to come out, and not everyone had them, or, service would be really bad in a lot of areas. So I remember he was roommates with another friend of ours from high school. And so I was calling him and being like, his name was Ryan. And I'm like, Ryan, is Brian there? Whatever. And Ryan always wanted Brian and I to be together. So when I was telling him, I'm like, please have him call me as soon as he gets back. Because Brian had come and said goodbye to me before he was leaving for the weekend with his brother. He had stopped into work and just said, hey, I'm going for the weekend hunting or whatever he was doing with his brother, which is funny because he doesn't hunt, but I feel like that's what they were doing. But he, had stopped in to say goodbye to me. And the girls at work would always be like, oh, he's all about you, whatever. And I was like, oh, no, we're just best friends, duh. I knew, but I don't know. And so, and I would stop in and see him before, at his work sometimes and stuff. Who just does that, And so I kept calling, and Ryan's like, I swear, I promise, as soon as he gets here, I'll have him call you. So Brian said when he got home, Ryan was like, you have to call her right now, whatever. He knew something was up. And so when he called me, I let him know that I had told this guy I was engaged to that the engagement was off, we were done, and because he told me that I couldn't see Brian anymore, and that, Brian, you're my best friend, I'm not willing to give you up. And that right there, just, it all really started, because we both knew what we had felt for years and just didn't act on, for whatever reason. I think it was mostly my stupidity, but he waited for me. He was willing to wait for me to come to my senses, apparently. And so that's kind of how things started. And I will never forget, my great-grandma was here in Michigan from Kansas. Now, my cousin Debbie Knobloch, I feel like I say her name wrong all the time. Debbie Knobloch, I'm pretty sure. She has a channel. My great-grandma, it was her grandma. And so that's how we are related. And so my grandma Shack had come from Kansas and was visiting in the summer, and Brian was, coming over and hanging out and stuff, and this was right in the beginning. And she said to me one day after he had left, she said, you're gonna marry that boy someday. And I was like, oh, whatever. And she's like, you're gonna marry him. And she knew what she was talking about. She was very smart, and she actually ended up being at our wedding, thankfully. And so that was really awesome to get to have her be a part of that. But so let's see, it was November of 97 when I said, hey, I broke off my engagement, whatever. And so Brian actually ended up coming to my family. I always would go. My uncle works for the Detroit Lions, and so we would always go to Detroit Lions games on Thanksgiving. And so the guy I was engaged to was supposed to have been going with me, but obviously that wasn't going to happen. And so Brian ended up coming, and just fit in great with my family because my family already knew him. Like, it just was very comfortable. And so my sisters have always felt like his sisters. He always says, like, I love your sisters so much. They are my sisters, And I mean, he has sisters too, but I'm saying, like, he feels that same way. Like, these are my sisters because he's always known them and, been close to them. And so went to that Lions game and everything, and that just kind of got things rolling. And then, so Grandma must not have been visiting in summer because that wouldn't make sense. I don't remember the timeline exactly, but all I know is her telling me. Actually, it might have been before he and I were dating. It might have just been like he was like over a day or something when she was there that summer before November. I bet it was, actually. So it was before we were even dating. She said, you're going to marry that boy someday. Because I think that's kind of why I was like, okay, Grandma, because I was with this other guy. But anyway, so in March, on March 30th of 1998, we got engaged. And then we did something not very conventional, and I, in hindsight, would not have done it this way, either would he, but we decided we wanted to have a baby. Now, okay, March 30th is when we got engaged. We already knew that June 12th was going to be, of 1999, was going to be our wedding day, because my birthday is April 12th, his birthday is July 12th, so we wanted to keep 12s in there. And so we got engaged in March and set our wedding date for June of the following year. And then we decided we wanted to have a baby, which is really dumb because we were 19 years old. And why we didn't just wait, who knows. But thankfully things worked out, right? But it made things extra tough for us. So yeah, would not have recommended that to myself looking back. But life goes on, right? And so in June of 1998, we found out we were pregnant with our first child, who ended up being my son, Gavin, who is 20. He just turned 20 in February. February 25th is when he was born. And then we got married that following June. So we had a little baby with us at our wedding. So yeah, not ideal, not what I would do if I could have thought things out more rationally ahead of time, but that's the way it goes. So I had Gavin in February. I was still 20. I turned 21 in April. We got married in June. Brian was still 20. He turned 21 in July. And so we were very young. And we were very much in love. And, we were going to make anything could work for us. We were going to make it work because we loved each other so much, and that's just how it was going to be. Well, let me be realistic with you. Life is not that easy. Marriage is not that easy. I went through a period of time where I had a very difficult time, and I think it was because of getting married and becoming a mom so young. And I went through a time where I felt like I didn't know who I was. Like, I never had a chance to be me, kind of thing, which led me to, I had alcohol issues, things like that. Brian never gave up on me. I was not a good wife for a period of time, or a good mother. And he never gave up on me. He knew who I was, and that was not me. And so I thank him so much. I don't know if the tables were turned, if I could have been the way he was to me, to him. He forgave me for just ways I acted and things I said and ways I treated him that never should have been. And that's what love is. That's what true love is. It's seeing the person and knowing who they really are, and being able to remember, like, I know who this person is inside. What they're going through right now is just an outward, whatever it is, but we can work through this. Like, I know who they are at their core. And he absolutely did that and treated me that way. And so we went through some very difficult years. And then when we were about 30, our faith became very real to us. And we were both baptized, which I think there'll be a picture of the day that we were baptized in the lake. And our lives changed forever for the better at that point. Like, we became closer than we had ever been. We continue to grow closer all the time. We say the same things as each other at the same exact time. We laugh about really dumb stuff that nobody else thinks is funny. Like, our kids are always like, oh my gosh, but we can do anything together and have fun. We can do a puzzle. We can go walk by the water. We can watch TV together. We can we can do anything together and have a blast and be cracking up, and just, that's what love is. And we celebrate things about each other. Are we annoyed with each other sometimes? Heck yes. Like, everybody has things that they do that are annoying to other people. You better realize that you've got them too, and so you better not be like rude and mean and point out faults all the time, because if someone turned around and did the same thing back to you, like, you would hate it. So that's another thing about marriage. It's a lot of like, yeah, there are things that are irritating or whatever. Am I always great about not pointing them out? No. Because things like the pile of clothes that he will let, I'll like wait and be like, no, surely he's going to pick that up and just walk right into the bathroom, into our master bathroom, put it in the hamper, right? No, it becomes like a mountain. Or he comes in to take a shower and like drops his underwear right in front of the shower when the hamper's like literally, he could just like reach his arm out and drop the underwear in there. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Or a really strange one. He knows these. He knows. When he like is scooping something out of the bottom, like of a yogurt cup or a bowl of ice cream, the way he like quickly like scrapes makes me insane. I have no idea why, but it is the most annoying thing to me. I know that I have very annoying things to him as well. So if I said every time he did those things, like, ugh, like, you drive me nuts when you do that or whatever, all that would do is like push us away from each other, because then it would make him be resentful toward me that I'm bringing up this stuff all the time. Or if I let those things like really bother me, that would make me resentful toward him over things. That's so stupid. Don't do that. And just find things that you can do together to have fun. You should be able to talk to each other on car rides. Like, we'll go, well, it's funny because we'll go out to eat or something and we'll be like, so don't really know what to talk about, like, because we talk all the time. So, it's not like when we go, like, it's like, oh, time by ourselves to talk. We are always talking, but we always find something. There's always something that we find that we laugh and joke about. And so I'm just so thankful for him, and where we've come over these 20 years is amazing to me. People who knew us from the beginning till now have seen that growth, and then people who know us and didn't know us in the harder times can't even imagine us in those harder times, that they're just like, oh my gosh, like the girls I work with always are saying stuff about like, I can tell you and your husband just love each other so much, like, you guys are so cute, and whatever. And I'm sure we annoy people because we do everything together, and that's what we enjoy being together. And so and saying that, for the day today, we're trying not to spend too much money, because we have a trip to Tennessee coming up to actually celebrate our anniversary. We rented a really cute little house for a week, and we're just really excited about it. And so just for today, we're going to go out to eat for breakfast, and we're just going to hang out, find stuff to do. We'll probably walk down by the water and things like that. We're going to have kind of an early dinner, because then we'll have to come back and get our two younger boys, and it's our last night of Wednesday night church, where we go to church, and I'm a youth group leader and they're in youth group and that kind of stuff. So it's our last night of that. So we're all going to go for that. And that is how we're spending our 20th anniversary, the actual day. Nothing super crazy, but we have such a fun trip planned, and we're both really excited for it. And so I just hope that this was encouraging to someone. Please do not let someone treat you poorly. Don't let someone degrade you and talk down to you. And in the same token, don't you dare do it to somebody else. That is not love. That is not how love acts. And realize that you have faults too, not just the other person. We all do. And we need to celebrate the things about each other that are good. And, you know, when you lift people up, when you build them up, it makes them want to be better. And it makes them happy and feel good. And isn't that what you want? I mean, when we're building each other up, we're literally building each other up and becoming closer to each other. And so that is what I would encourage you in any marriage, in any relationship. Celebrate the good things about people. Let them know the littlest things. If you think like if their laugh just like makes you super happy, like if there's something about like the way they laugh, tell them like, I love your laugh. It makes me feel good when you laugh. Or I mean, anything. If it's, you know, my husband is like on this major kick. He loves hot sauce, and I give him a hard time and mess with him all the time because he's like obsessed with it. But I love that he has something that he's passionate about and enjoys. It's no different than me with makeup. And so, because even though they're like completely different things, it doesn't make one better than the other. I love that he has something like that I know what he is thinking about it, because it's the way I feel about makeup and things like that. So celebrate things about each other and encourage one another. And in the hard times, when you already have that relationship, it makes it easier to get through those hard times, because you have such a history of that love and care for each other that it helps you through and be able to see past some things or forgive things. Always be forgiving. And yeah, I guess that's really all I have to say. I know that was really long-winded because I am, but I love him so much, and I'm just so thankful for where we've come. And I just look so forward to what the rest of our lives are going to be like. I know we are going to be really cool old people, because we're going to have a lot of fun. I mean, dorky. We're totally dorky. But oh my gosh, are we going to have fun? And we already do have so much fun. And I'm so thankful to spend this life with him. So I'm going to leave you guys with some pictures to kind of show you over the years. You can see our changes. We've changed a lot over the years. Physically, a lot. Mentally, emotionally, a lot. But I think some of you will be surprised by how much we've changed physically over the years, because yeah, let's just say I'm feeling real good. I feel like our later years that we've come into, you know, more recently have been real good. So I hope you guys enjoy seeing the pictures, and thank you so much for just letting me share this with you, and I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye.
I'm so I'm so high.